So good evening all, and I welcome you all in today's session of hands-on Python programming. And in today's session, we are going to discuss exploratory data analysis using Pandas library of Python programming language. So let me tell you that what do we mean by actually exploratory data analysis, or in short, we can say EDA. So whenever we want to know more about our data, we want to find insights from the data. Okay, then we actually, what we do, we carefully observe our data. We just try to summarize main characteristics, main things about our data. Okay, so in simple words, we can say that we want to know more about our data. Okay, and for that process of finding insights from the data is known as exploratory data analysis. Okay, and in general, if you have some real life data upon which we have to work, so that will contain a lot of noise. So what we mean by noise means impure things, impure data, impure values that we don't want to keep in our data, that we don't want to process actually. Okay, so that we call in general noise or unwanted values, we can say. And therefore performing data analysis, so whenever we want to perform some analysis on that data, so if you are going to do it manually for a larger data set, it will be very complicated and tedious. So that's why we can use Pandas library functions, okay, and features to analyze this data. Okay, so EDA is essential for well defined and structured data analysis. So if you want to do in a well defined manner and a structured pattern you want to follow for data analysis, then we should follow this exploratory data analysis step. Okay, so and should be performed before the machine learning modeling phase. So let me tell you this important point, that before applying machine learning algorithms, okay, uh, to our data, before applying these machine learning modeling, machine learning algorithm, machine learning techniques, we can say, so before applying this thing, we will do this exploratory data analysis. Okay, before applying this thing. So why we are actually doing this before applying machine learning? Because if you will explore your data properly, and if you find some noise, if you find some impurity, that you can that you can remove from your data. So removing that impure data or noise from your data is called actually pre-processing. So first we will do exploratory data analysis, okay, in which we will find the noise in our data. Then we will do pre-processing. So pre-processing means we will remove that noise or impurity from our data. Then after that, we in general apply machine learning models to our data set. Okay, so that is the process of, we can say, applying machine learning modeling and machine learning project to do how we can do. So these will be the steps: first EDA, then pre-processing, then we will apply machine learning modeling or machine learning models to our data set. So this will be the sequence. Okay, so that's why it is an important, we can say, phase whenever you are going to do any data analysis project or data science project or machine learning ML based project. Okay, so here in this session we will be especially discussing that how we can use Pandas functions and Pandas other features we can use for this EDA process. Okay, so Pandas is one of the most popular libraries of Python that helps to present the data in a way which is suitable for analysis via its series and data frame data structures. As we know that we can present or we can represent our data in the form of a series or a data frame data structures that we have in Pandas. So it will make it very simple. Okay, whenever you will keep your data in data frame or series, then it will be very easy to analyze your data. So it provides various functions. So the beauty of this Pandas library is that it provides you a variety of functions and methods, okay, to simplify as well as expedite the data analysis process. It means it will make it simple also, and it will make it fast also at the same time. Okay, so easily it will make it fast. So it will make it easy and fast, both the thing, both the you can say facilities you will get if you are using Pandas for EDA. Okay, So next we will go for reading a data from a file. For example, if you have a CSV file, okay, and you want to fetch data from that CSV file to a data frame. As we discussed, that data frame is a data structure available in Pandas library. So what we are discussing, that how we can read our data, okay, that we have in a CSV file, and from that CSV file we want to read that data, we want to fetch that data from CSV file to a data frame. Because whenever you will have this data in your data frame, then you can use any function for manipulation or analysis, okay, in that data frame using Pandas functions and features. So first we are going to do what, that in Jupyter Notebook, how we can upload a CSV file, and how we can fetch data from a CSV file to a data frame. Okay, so let me show you that. For that thing, what we will do, we will do this thing, that we will go to the home page of our Jupyter Notebook. Then we will click on this upload button, and in upload, what we will do, for example, we have this Titanic data set in CSV format. So we will just select this CSV file, Titanic, name is Titanic, so that you can get this data set from Kaggle website also. So after that, we will click on open, and then we will click for upload. Okay, then you will find that at the end of your files in home page, you will find that you will get this titanic.csv seconds ago. It means seconds ago it has been uploaded, and 28.6 KB. So this is the size of your file. So now it has been uploaded to your current project. Now in that Jupyter Notebook, okay, or what we can do, simply we can take a new notebook. So here what we will write, we will give it name as ADA using Pandas. Okay, that is simply about renaming our Jupyter Notebook file. Next, what we will do, first of all, we have to import Pandas as PD. So this we have discussed, that how we can import Pandas library, and then after that we can write, for example, df. So df will be the name of our data frame in which we want to store the data from CSV file. So what we will do, that we will write pd dot read underscore CSV, because if you want to read data from a CSV file, then we will use this function read underscore CSV. Read underscore CSV is a function available in Pandas library that we will use, and as an argument we will write here the name of our file, that was Titanic, and with this extensions .csv, that is for comma separated values. So like that we will write, okay, and after that we will run this thing. So after that, if you will check that what we have in df, so for that you can write df dot head, and one or two we can write. So what we are going to do, we are just trying to uh, display first two records that we have in Titanic, okay, CSV file, and from that CSV file we fetched data into this data frame, that is df. So that all that data we have in Titanic CSV file now has been fetched to df data frame. And now if you will write df dot head, and within brackets if you will write 2, it means first two records will be displayed. So let me show this thing. This first two records you will get. So first record is about passenger ID is 892, passenger class is 3, name is Kelly, sex, age, siblings, number of siblings, I think it will be parent or child, number of parent or child, this type of information may be there. So ticket or ticket number, fare, cabin, embarked, so all these information will be there. Okay, so that you can see using this head function. Okay, so till this point what we did, actually we just fetched the data from CSV file to a data frame. Okay, after that, now we will use pandas, different functions of pandas. Okay, and with the help of different functions available in pandas, okay, we will use for analyzing our data. Okay, so that will be actually part of EDA, exploratory data analysis. Okay, so we use this thing head. So head actually will return you first 5 rows. So if you will not provide any value within brackets in head function, then it will return you 5 rows, first 5 rows. Okay, so let me show you that. You can write df dot head. You will write like this, then it will show you first 5 rows, 0 1 2 3 4. So first 5 rows it will show you. Otherwise, if you will write 1 2 3, so then that number of records will be displayed. Okay, next what we can use, df.tell, if you want to see the records from the end. Okay, so for that we can use df.tell. So now you can try to run these commands. Okay, simultaneously you can also try at your side on your machine, like df.tell you can use. Okay, so tail, what tail will provide you? Last 5 records. Otherwise, if you want to see only last 2 records, then you can write like this, df.tail, and within brackets you will write 2. So these are the last 2 records. Okay, so last 2 records. So last record is about 417. So how many records are there actually? Because we started from 0, so, and last one is 417, it means total 418 records we have in this CSV file. Okay, that we fetched in our data frame df. So I hope points are clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
So next we will go for df.info. So info will actually give you a quick overview about your data set. Okay, so just we will go for df.info. So we will try this thing, df.info.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, actually it is taking the 5 rows, but whatever the data in the Excel sheet, it is not displaying, sir.
uh, it's not like that I got actually at my side. You are
You got, sir,
asking
but
about tail or head?
no, sir. The data means, suppose in the first row, whatever the data, suppose I have taken the attendance of the students, so it should be displayed the attendance of the students, but it is showing NN something. NN.
nan. Okay, okay, okay. Nan means not a number. So you are not using this
Okay,
Titanic
okay,
CSV file.
okay. That is the decimal number. That's why it is not taking.
Okay,
Maybe. So I don't know.
so that issue has been resolved. Otherwise, you can use this same file. Then you will be sure that you are getting proper output, correct
Okay,
output.
Titanic.
Titanic.csv you can
Okay,
directly use.
okay.
Okay, then you will be sure that you are getting the correct output.
Means I will write DF.
Yes, df.head you should write if you are storing from Titanic to df. Now you got.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, fine. So df.info. So info function will simply tell you about the name of columns, okay, and data type, and how many values are there. For example, if you will see for passenger ID, non-null values, this means 418 values are there that are non-null. It means 41 total values are there. Okay, p class 418, but you will see that for age you have only 332 values, because if we have 418, it means 418 records, and for age we are getting only 332. What does it mean? It means for few records age is missing. Okay, for few records age is missing. So for how many records age is missing? 418 minus 332, that you have to do. Okay, Okay, next thing is that D type, it means data type. So what is the data type of that column? So int 64 object, some object is there, int 64, float 64. So like that you can see the data type of that column. So a quick overview of your data set or that you have in your data frame, you will get with the help of this info function. Okay, 418 entries and 0 to 417 will be the row number. Okay, so like that you will get, and total 11 columns you have. Okay, total 11 columns you have. So these informations you will get, okay, as a result of this info function. Next we will go for df dot shape. So let me try this one, df dot shape. And let me point out that for shape we don't need to use this brackets. Okay, brackets we don't need to use, df dot shape. So why we don't need to use? Because shape is not a function, actually it's an attribute, it's an attribute. Okay, so that's why we can use it directly. So what does it mean? Shape means 418. So 418 is number of rows, and 11 is number of columns. Okay, so shape will provide you number of rows and number of columns. So first value first value will represent number of rows and second value will represent number of columns in your data. Next we have df dot size. So df dot size is also, size is actually also an attribute of data frame. So we don't need to write parentheses after that size. So simply we will write df dot size. So size is 4598. So 4598 means it returns an integer representing the number of elements in this object and return the number of rows if series, otherwise returns the number of rows times the number of columns if data frame. So as we are using this data frame, so what it will do, that it will simply return you number of rows into multiplied by number of columns. Okay, so what it should return, it should return simply 418 into 11. So you can try it on calculator, that what we will get for 418 and 418 and 11. So 418 into 11, okay, 4598 that we are getting. Okay, so that's confirmed that it will simply return you number of rows into number of columns. It means total number of cells you have actually. Then we have ndim. Ndims means dimension. Okay, so if you have a series, then it will return the dimension 1, and if you have a data frame, as we know that data frame is of 2 dimension, it means 2 dimension, we can say number of rows and columns. So there will be 2 dimension, because we have rows also and we have columns also. So for data frame, of course, it will return 2. So ndim, so ndim is also attribute, df dot ndim, it will be 2 simply. Next we have df dot describe. So describe will be important because it will give you statistical values for your data set. Okay, like it will provide you count, mean. Mean means average, standard deviation, minimum. Okay, percentile, quartile. Okay, this type of things you will get. So that's why it will be important, and it is frequently used in our projects. So we will use this one, describe. So describe is a function, that's why we will write parentheses after that, describe. Okay, so you can see that in passenger id, passenger id is a column. Okay, so for passenger id count is 418, for passenger class count is 418, for age count is 332. Mean is passenger id. So passenger id, mean of passenger id is not much worth for us, but you can say for age you can see. So in age column you will see that mean is 30.27. It means most of the average age, okay, average age of passengers is 30 years. Okay, average age is 30 years. So like that you can analyze your data. Standard STD means standard deviation, minimum value. So minimum value that you have in particular column that you can see. And quartile, and this 50%, it means how many records are less than 50% data, and about 75% data. And then maximum means what is the maximum value in that column. So this type of statistical values for your data column wise you will get, okay, with the help of this describe function. So we in general use this in our data science project or machine learning project.
Sir,
Next,
previous command, please explain again. Sir, previous command.
df.ndim.
Yes, sir.
Ndim will simply return you the dimension or number of dimension. For example, if you have a data frame, then it will return 2. If you have series, then it will return 1. Dimension means you have one dimension data or two dimension, because if you have data frame, so in data frame if you have rows and columns, both the things are there, that's why it will be two dimensional.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so ndim for a data frame will always result in 2. Okay, for data frame it will be 2, for series it will be 1 always. Df.describe we discussed. Next we have df.sample. So any sample record you will get, okay, with used to generate a sample randomly, either row or column. Okay, it all allows you to select values randomly from a series or data frame. It is useful when we want to select a random sample from a distribution. So you have total 418 records here, okay, in this Titanic data set. So if you want to select any sample randomly, so for that you can use this thing df.sample. So we will use this thing df.sample. Okay. So randomly it will select. So let me try to do one thing more, that if we will try again with this sample, so it will give the same record, it will randomly select any other record. You can see that first time for df.sample we got 12th record, okay, in which passenger ID is 904. But for second time, if we will run this df.sample, then we got 112th record and passenger ID is 1004. So actually what it will do, randomly select any record and it will display that record. Okay. So next we have isNull.sum. Okay, that is important for EDA. So df.isNull means it will check that it is null or not, and dot sum means it will sum all the values which are null. Okay. So return the number of missing values in each column. So in simple words we can say, with the help of this function isNull and dot sum, so actually two functions we are going to combine. Df dot isNull is one function, and dot sum, so sum is another function, and we are going to use it in combination, so it will return the number of missing values in each column. Okay, so we will try this one. Df dot isNull dot sum. So you can see that with the help of this, what we can get, that number of missing values in each column. So in passenger ID you will get 0. It means for all the records we have passenger ID. Okay, there is no missing value in passenger ID column. For P class also, for name also, for sex also, for age. See, for age we have 86. It means 86, for 86 records, for any 86 records actually age is missing. Okay, same you can see for fair. Okay, for any one record fair is missing. Okay, so if you will check in the column of fair, you will get that only for one record that fair will be missing. And cabin, for cabin 327 values are missing. Okay, so with the help of this function isNull and sum, okay, in combination if you will use, you will get that missing values column wise. So that is very important uh, whenever we are going to do any project. Next we have df dot n unique. So it will simply return you number of unique elements in that object. Okay, so simply we can say it will return you that how many unique objects we have. Okay, so let me show you that what do we mean by unique. Df dot n unique. Okay, so n unique is a function, that's why we have to use parentheses also after that. So let me show you that what we have actually. Passenger ID is 418. It means total unique. It means different 418 IDs we have. P class is 3. It means only 3 passenger classes are there. Name, so all the passengers have different name. That's why we have 418 names. Sex, because in general we store for male and female. So only 2 categories are there in for that sex column. In age we have 79. It means different age values are 79 types of different age values we have in our data set. Okay, so I hope you got this point. Next we can go for df.index. This function searches for a given element from the start of the list and returns the lowest index where the element appears. Okay, so from the start of the list and returns the lowest index where the element appears. df.index. So let me try this one. Index. Okay, range index object is not callable. df.index. Index of what we want actually. Like let me check for, or any passenger ID we can check directly. 1004. Okay, so I will explore it, then I will tell you, because I'm not sure about this index. So this function searches for a given element from the start of the list and returns the lowest index where the element appears. Okay, I'm not sure about this. I will see and tell you. Otherwise, what we can do, we can check it on internet directly. df.index in pandas. So data frame dot index row tables, row labels of the data frame is there. Okay. Indexing and selecting data with pandas. Data frame index columns attribute allows you. Okay, so I will see first. I will explore and then tell you. So just we will discuss it later. Next we have df dot columns. Okay, so just it will return the column levels. It means name of columns that we have in data set. So df dot columns. So if you want to know the name of columns, that you can get with the help of df dot columns. Okay. Passenger ID, P class, name, sex, age, SIP, SP, patch, ticket, fare, cabin, embarked. Okay, so these are the name of columns, okay, of our data set. Next we can go for df dot memory underscore uses. It means how much memory each column uses in bytes. Okay, how much memory each column uses in bytes. It is useful especially when we work with large data frames. Okay, so whenever we are working with large data set, then our data frame will be obviously large. So in that case we have to take care of this thing. So that's why we can know about the memory, okay, each column uses in bytes. So with the help of this function df dot memory underscore uses. So df dot memory underscore usage. So you can see that index for 120 passenger ID. So first column is passenger ID. It is 3344 bytes, and P class 3344. So it means all the we can say columns are using this 3344 bytes. Okay, 3344 bytes. In bytes it will represent, okay, size of column. Next we have df drop na. So this will be an important function, okay, that we in general use in our project. So this function is used to remove a row or a column from a data frame that has a NaN or missing values in it. So let me tell you that this drop NA function we in general use for pre-processing. Pre-processing means the step or phase that we follow after EDA. After EDA means first we perform EDA, it means data analysis, then we go for pre-processing. In pre-processing what we do, whatever we got about data, okay, that impurity or noise we want to remove in the phase of pre-processing. So if you are sure that in a particular row or column there is a very there is plenty of missing values, okay, it means for most of the we can say cells you have missing values or nan values. Nan values means not a number, okay. So if it is it is for more than allowable numbers or more than bearable numbers, then we can do what, that simply we will drop that column. We will drop that column, it means we will remove that column, okay. So what we can do, we will simply remove that column. So we can do it with the help of drop na function. So we will do this. Df dot drop na in place is equal to true. Df dot shape is 183.12. So what we will do, we will see that in which records we have more missing values. So for that, df dot drop na, and then we will write in place is equal to true. In place is equal to true. So now if you will see the df dot shape, it means how many rows and columns you have, okay. So you will see that only 87 rows we have and 11 columns we have. It means, and before that, if you will check for df dot shape, how many rows? 418 rows was were there and 11 columns was there. It means out of 418 rows or records, okay, now we have only 87 records. Why? Because in 87 records it has not got any missing values, okay. That's why it is now keeping only 87 values, okay. So that was the point, that if you don't want to keep missing values records, that you can drop with the help of df dot drop na, okay. And if you are sure that if you want to drop a column also, then that also you can drop, okay, a column also you can drop. So I hope we will get it later. Otherwise we will see that this was the procedure to remove remove the records which are containing missing values. And if you are sure that if you want to drop a column, so that also you can do with the help of, so drop a column. So del function we can use directly, drop a column in pandas. So we will directly use this thing dot drop, and then we will write in place is true without removed index or column levels, or none if in place is equal to true. If any of the levels is not found in the selected, drop NA, return data frame with levels on given axis omitted where any data. So let me tell you that drop NA will do what? It will return the data frame with labels, okay, on given axis omitted where all or any data are missing. So even a single cell is missing, okay, data is missing for any single cell, the whole record will be deleted. That's why we got only 87 records. And if you will go for drop dot duplicates, so it will remove duplicates also, but we will see that in pre-processing step. And here we want to drop only a particular column, actually a particular column. Drop a column in pandas data frame. So for that we can use drop. Okay, so we can use drop. So what we will do, simply if we want to drop any particular column, so which column we can drop? For example, if we analyze that for this column also, for fare we have 169 missing values, for ticket we have 363, sorry, this is n unique, we will see for is null sum. So for, you can see that for cabin we have 327 values missing. Okay, so what we can do, simply we will drop this column. So now we want to drop this column, df dot drop, and the column name is cabin. Cabin. Okay, let me check that how we can drop a column. I think we have discussed this thing yesterday also, no? So we can check in that. How to column deletion? Simply we can write del or pop we can use. Okay, that's fine. So we will use this del function, or pop also we can use. So we will do this thing, del, and then we will write our data frame name df, and cabin we want to drop. Okay, cannot delete function call. Okay, so it is a function call, so we should write like this actually. Okay, so del df and that column name. So column cabin we want to delete from our data frame now. Df dot cabin. Cabin, the above exception were direct cause of the following exception. If the scalar key not self dot has nos. So del df1, we deleted this one, that's fine. And why we are getting issue? Cabin is not there, it is telling. Okay, C should be capital. Okay. So C should be capital. Now you can check. Okay, so in this way we can delete a particular column also, and in which you have missing values. For example, with the help of this is null and sum function, we checked that in cabin column we have 327 missing values. Okay, so if we have 327 missing values out of 418, out of 418 values, so that is not bearable. So we can't allow this thing. Okay, so large number of missing values. So what we will do in that case, we can simply delete that whole column. So cabin we removed or deleted from our df. So now you can see df dot columns. Okay, So if you will see that df dot columns, you will get that this cabin will not be there. Okay, passenger id is there, p class, name, sex, age, cpsp, cabin is not there. Okay, so in this way we can remove the columns which have missing values, or records also, it means rows also, which have missing values. So next we will go for df dot n largest. N largest return the first n rows ordered by columns in descending order. Okay, so what you can do, simply it will return you the columns in descending order. In descending order it will return you. So you can try it at yourself. df dot n largest. Okay, df dot n largest. df dot n largest. N largest. What is the issue with n largest? Returns the list of first n rows and ordered by columns in descending order. Okay, so we have to provide some argument also, like 5, it means first 5 rows which are ordered by some column, so we have to provide. Okay, so we have to provide one thing, that how many records we want to see, and in descending order. Okay, so we will go for age. So what actually we are going to do with this 5 and age? So 5 will simply give you first 5 rows. Okay, and it will be ordered according to the values we have in age. Okay, so it will be actually sorted in descending order. It means highest value will be first, then after that we have smaller values, like that it will show you. So you can see in age, first one is 76, then we have 67, then 64, then 64, then again 64. Okay, so like that it will. So what you can see with the help of this n largest, so if you want to see that in particular column what is the maximum value we have, for example in age what is the maximum value, 76, that we can check. If you want to check in fair, so you can write it that what is the maximum fair. Okay, so that you can see in fair we have 512. Okay, so this will be the maximum fare. So like that we can check with the help of n largest function. Next we have is na. Is na, I think we use for our projects also. This function returns a data frame filled with boolean values with true indicating missing values. Okay, so uh, is na is means is na, so false, false, false. So false means uh, values with true indicating missing values. Okay, with boolean values with true indicating missing values. Okay, so we will do this thing, df dot is na. So is na is a function, it will check that that value is missing or not. So we will not go for all the records, we will go for head, and in head only we will take first 3 records. Okay, so just this head we use just to see only first 3 records. This is only for that we want only first 3 records, we don't want all the records, that's why we use head 3. But this is na will specify you that in that record, okay, which cell is actually missing. Okay, so in that you can see that in head 3 first 3 records is na, false, passenger id is false, name is false, sex is false, age is false, CIV-SP is false. So 12, 14 and 24. It means actually you can get that how many records you have, okay, that contains missing values. So if you will remove this head, you will get all the records in which you have some missing value. Okay, so actually in this you will not get any missing value because all are false. All are false means you don't have missing values now. Why we don't have missing values now? Because we have removed the rows, okay, all the rows that has any missing value, so you will get only false here. So if you will get true somewhere, okay, in your data set, it means it is missing value. Okay, so false means it's okay, it's not a missing value. True means it is missing value. Okay, so as we have removed all the missing values, so of course we will get false. Df dot duplicated returns boolean series denoting duplicate rows. So if you have any duplicate rows, like for example, for us, for the same passenger or for the same student, if you have a student data set, so for the same student, it means all the cells are having same values. For example, roll number is same, name is same, course is same, semester is same, percentage is same. It means actually by mistake that complete row has been duplicated. So in that way you can find that duplicated rows. Okay, so df dot duplicated, and that we can check with the help of this df dot duplicated functions. So what we will do, we will check in df dot duplicated. So it will return you the number of duplicated records only, and that you can store in S, for example. And after that, you can see that how many duplicated values we have. So if you have any duplicate row, okay, so for that you can get. So it will show you 0. It means in df data frame now we don't have any duplicated record. Okay, because in real data set it may be possible that for the same student or for the same passenger, if it is a passenger data set, so that whole record or the complete row, we can say, has been duplicated, has been copied, so that you can find with the help of duplicated function. Then value counts, this function is used to get a series containing counts of unique values. So if you want to know about unique values, it means actually if you want to know about that how many actual unique values you have, okay, so that you can check at your level. I am going to discuss for df dot correlation or corr, we can say, that is very much useful whenever we are going to do any project. So what it will show you, that how your one column is correlated with other column. Correlated means dependent on other column. Okay, so with the help of df dot corr is for correlation. So it will show you that thing, and let me tell you that it is a very important function that we in general use for feature selection. Feature selection means, feature selection is a part of, we can say, pre-processing. Again, it means after eda we do pre-processing, and in pre-processing for feature selection. Feature selection, what do we mean by feature selection? Let me tell you in very simple words, that if you have for example 11 columns, okay, so it may be possible that for your project all those 11 columns will not be useful. For example, if you have address of students and you want to know about the result of a student, so address will not contribute anything or more or much worth in finding students result in examination. Okay, I hope you can connect this thing. So if we have a column, for example address, okay, so address will not contribute or will not tell us anything about the result of a student. If you will go for number of assignments submitted, number of marks or marks obtained in sessional 1, in sessional 2, so these columns or these values will help us to know the final result of the student. But to know the result of the student or to predict the result of the student, the address of the student will not be very much useful. Okay, so what we will do, we will not select this feature address of the student. Okay, so feature selection means simply selecting, okay, useful columns in your data, useful columns in your data, because each column is a feature, okay, in your data set. So this was about a little bit related to feature selection and all that we use in data science and machine learning project. So whenever we will discuss more about that, in that also we can go in detail, but at this point you can simply think about feature selection as, if you have few columns in your data set, so by feature selection we want to select only useful features or important features, we can say. Okay, it means important columns. So for that we can use this correlation function. So we can do this with the help of df dot corr. So this will be for correlation function. So you can see that passenger ID is correlated with passenger ID. So what is the correlation value? It is 1, because passenger ID is of course almost highly correlated or totally correlated with passenger ID. But how passenger ID is correlated with P class? 0.004934. It means passenger ID is not very much correlated with P class. Okay, so if you have values, okay, low values, okay, low values will represent low correlation, and high values, it means 1. For example, if you have 1, so for same column of course you will get 1, or any values close to 1, okay, then it means it is very much related to, these two columns are very much related. Okay, for example, age and P class. Okay, so for that you can see that age and P class is in negative, it means they are not very much related. But for example, if you will go for 18283 or 4, okay, so we have this thing 0.081212252, okay, or 395. So you can see that this fair, okay, for fair and Parch, okay, so these two columns are, we can say that little bit related to each other. Why? Because correlation value or correlation coefficient value is 0.3. Okay, so if it is 0.6, 0.8, 0.9, it means those two columns are highly correlated. Okay, because one you will get only for the same column, like fair is there and again fair is there, so for that only you will get one. Otherwise, if the value is close to 1, it means those two columns are related, otherwise they are not related. Okay, negative means they are not related, even inversely related, we can say. So we will use this thing in our project also. We frequently use this correlation function, and df dot d type. So d type will simply tell you about the data type of each column. So I think we have used this also. Df dot d types. D types we have to write. Okay. So we'll run this thing. So it will simply tell you the type of data value that we will use in that particular column. Okay, so these functions of pandas library we can use for exploratory data analysis, and after this exploratory data analysis we can go for pre-processing of our data. Okay, so that will involve, maybe that will involve few other libraries. Okay, so but for EDA we can use, and in general in our projects also we use this thing for the EDA, that pandas library. Okay, so this was all about EDA using pandas library. Thank you very much.